Okay. What is the pattern? The pattern that will lurk in verses in Exodus. Do not deviate from the pattern of what you saw on the mountain. Okay, build in accordance with it, arrange in accordance with it. So when I say the word pattern, it correlates to the Hebrew word tavnit. Can we say tavnit?
Tavnit.
Yeah. It actually can mean form or model. Can you say model?
Model.
Okay. Have you guys ever built a replica of something out of Legos?
Yeah.
What's a replica?
It's just a copy.
A copy. It's a copy of something. A copy of something. How about a copy of something that actually functions in the same way? This is where we're getting away from just a copy, and we're getting to something called a replica or a model. So I'll give you an example. Have you ever seen models of Lamborghinis that are actually Hot Wheels? Or have you seen models of monster trucks that are Hot Wheels?
Yeah.
They actually have similar functions. They're not just dead copies, right? This word tavnit it means pattern, it means form, it means model. Okay? It is at the heart of everything God desires to do for creation. There is nothing outside of the field of this pattern. It is an overarching umbrella concept over everything in Scripture and everything in God's plan for creation. And we could call this pattern the image of God. Okay? We could call it the rationale for the arrangement. All right? There's a lot of different ways to refer to this pattern, but basically it's a model. And that model is to be followed, copied, and put into place, put into practice. All right? Do we know what the word pattern means in English?
Repetition.
It does have to do with repetition. You're absolutely right. It has to do with repetition to a degree, but it's not only repetition. It requires repetition, at least one repetition. It requires at least one repetition.
A pattern's like something that you start with, and then it keeps happening, and then you end with it. It's like a pattern. You need to.
Can't define a word with a word. How about
That was a good try, though. That's
It was a good try. It was a good try.
define.
It was a good shot.
A pattern is
When you use the first thing, add something else, and then keep using the same things over and over again.
Okay, so it is about using the first thing. A pattern is meant to be used to get a result. That is true. Okay? Yeah.
It's something that comes from something?
Yeah,
That
it's
looks just like it?
something that comes from something that either looks just like it or functions just like it. It's something to be imitated. We have things that are abstract, like behavioral patterns, but then we have like patterns on clothing, right? It's literally the same pattern repeated over and over again. Okay? How about the word basis? You ever heard of that word in English? Basis? When something is the basis for something else, right? Yeah, and in coding you get a fancy word like prototype. Okay? It's the core idea that's the basis for things that will be a repetition of that core idea. Okay? The pattern is behind, catch this, the pattern is behind the arrangement of the image of God. The pattern is behind the tabernacle and its arrangement. The pattern is behind the temple and its arrangement. The pattern is behind what a human being is. Its function and its arrangement. So if you can understand this pattern, you will actually gain insight into, and by the way, the pattern is also behind all of creation, all of the cosmos. All right? Very lofty concept. To give you some doctrine to think through, think of Romans 1, where it says, visible creation reveals the invisible attributes of God. Okay? The unseen attributes of God. Visible creation reveals these unseen attributes of God. Think about how in Hebrews 1, which is quoting Wisdom of Solomon, that Yeshua is called wisdom incarnate, the Word that creates reality. Okay? And that he holds reality together. And that it's all in accordance with his own image. Okay? Another word for pattern is design. It's a design. Does that make sense? When we say the word, hey, was the thing built according to design? What do we mean? Well, what we mean is, did you stick to the plan
The pattern.
of creation? A pattern, the word pattern is a little too loose in English. Design is nice because it's a plan that can be enacted and ought to be stuck to, and it's a plan that can be deviated from. Okay? But every plan has a goal. The pattern is this as well, but design is, it's a goal. Do you know what that goal is? The loftiest goal. It's the goal of all creation. That God would be in all and through all, right? And joined to all. That's the goal. The goal of this pattern is that reality itself would turn toward God, mirror Him, and be joined to Him. Which that whole process you could call love. Okay? I think that's sufficient for a start. And you can also go to Exodus where Moses is told, I got a pattern on the mountain for how to build the tabernacle, and I was warned solemnly, I can't deviate from that pattern. Hebrews picks up that idea as well. Okay? And Messiah in Matthew 5:17, I did not come to abolish the Torah and the prophets, but rather to fulfill him. Yeshua himself adopts motions and actions and forms to fulfill this pattern. Okay. GoPro, stop recording.